We'll get started. I'm also joined again today by my co-host, Arlene Jacobs. You all ready, Arlene?
I'm ready.
All right, watch out. Here we go. So let me introduce our first guest. Welcome to the show, Angie Brascoup. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Very good. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself to the community in case there's people out there who don't know who you are?
My name is Angie Whitebean Brascoup. My grandparents is Sarah Nolan, Lawrence Whitebean, Virginia Jocks, and Peter Daibo. My parents are Mason Whitebean and Linda Daibo. I'm married to Curtis Brascoup. I have 5 children and 5 grandchildren.
Wow. Busy lady.
And counting.
And counting.
Okay, Angie, why are you running for this position in this by-election?
Well, I always told my family I always wanted to run for council. With raising 5 athletic children, as they were always my top priority, and my husband being an iron worker and being away a lot didn't give me a lot of time into pursuing a passion of mine. I put energy into the organizations that my kids were associated with. Now that my children are older and some things are settled down, I'm finally pursuing my goals that at the time it was enough doing those things, like helping out the teams and sitting on the board for hockey and lacrosse, working with the wrestling team, and always trying to do whatever I can. And that is never an easy job. You also need thick skin to work with a lot of different people. I always went above and beyond to help where I can. Now it's time to help my community.
And how do you intend to help your community?
By making it stronger, bringing back the language. I myself don't know much of the language, but I'm also willing to learn it along with my children. And the education, I believe it needs to be a little bit higher, and the safety of the children.
In your opinion, what are the main issues that our community is currently facing?
The main issues, let's start with the obvious ones, drugs. There are studies that show that kids have a higher self-esteem and confidence, that are less likely to be peer pressure into using drugs or alcohol. And you do this not with just sports, but also education, and education being the first of the two. At any given time, your sports career can end, but you can always continue with an education. The bill S3 is another big issue. With 60,000 people being able to come onto the reserve, they're willing to give us the land. Are they willing to give us our land back? If not, how do they expect us to live here when we don't have enough land as is? And also the funds for education. Now that being said, there's a bigger issue. The voting turnout for Kahnawake is about 25%. Whether you vote for council or being a Longhouse, we need people to speak as much as it is. Being a political issue, it's more of a survival issue for our entire community. If they tell us 60,000 people can vote, that means potentially we can lose control of the Mohawk territory completely. And that the worst possible thing that can happen is that someone else is making a policy for us. To tell you the truth, I didn't know much about it until Meet the Candidates night. I then started some research and found out this is going to be a big problem. Maybe not now, but in the near future. Also, employment is another big issue here in Kahnawake.
So I guess my question to you next is, what is the priority and what do you think needs to be done? Like, what do we need to do as a community?
Come together. We all need to come together. You don't come together, there's different views of what should be done, and I think we should stand together and not fight amongst each other.
Okay, what are your goals if you're a successful candidate? You mentioned some of them.
Yeah.
And how will you achieve them?
I don't get to choose my own portfolio. I have to take what is available or given to me. And I have to work within the portfolio But my long-term goal is to work with the education, with the young adults, getting them more involved in the politics of Kahnawake, our language, and the safety of our children, our elders, the sports and education. Like I said, I'm not here to say get rich or just to say I want to be a counselor. Excuse me. I'm here for the future of our children, grandchildren, and try to better the community.
What is your knowledge about the KKL?
The KKL it's the language law. The elders put in place for the, how would I say this? They put it into place, hold on. I wrote some notes here. It's a law that the elders had to put together to ensure that us, the people of Kahnawake, will not lose our beautiful language. They called upon the MCK, the businesses, all the organizations in Kahnawake to encourage the use of our language. The language has to start in the home at a young age, but we have to realize that between residential schools, Catholic schools, and with families moving away for work a lot of the generation has lost the language. The problem is, how do we install it into the home for the parents and children to learn together? When they learn together, they will be able to go out and speak to other families, and that would strengthen our language. The thing we have to remember is not who can speak better than me, but who I can learn from. Don't be intimidated by someone who can speak the language. Ask them for help. If you never ask, you'll never know. And if you never know, it's because you never asked.
Okay. What about your knowledge about the residency law?
The residency law, that's the C31. As a family of 7 girls, my parents had always told me that it doesn't matter who you fall in love with, but if you choose a non-native, then you're not allowed to stay. You must leave. And if you're in love with someone that is a non-native, it should be for love, not for the benefit of using your status card. So, I mean, I was always told at a young age, and I always told my children also.
Angie, what do you think about our community becoming involved in the cannabis industry?
In the cannabis industry, I believe that I think we can venture to different avenues that will probably give us a better return than selling cannabis or having casinos. If cannabis, casinos, and cigarettes are the only way we can come up with, the only thing we can come up with, I don't think we are thinking outside the box. For example, there's in Tennessee there was a pot cave in 2006. He was growing illegal cannabis and ended up getting caught. He served 18 years in jail. They ended up selling the cave to a Wisconsin cheese company, which doubled their amount that they made per year. He was making about $8 million, and they were making roughly 19 million per year. So if you look at different ventures, avenues, you can come together, and the industry, instead of selling cannabis or casinos.
The relationship between the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake and the Longhouses is strained. Do you think it's important for the two to work together? And I guess I'll add to it. How would you like to see the two work together?
First, it starts with the right kind of attitude. You have to have an open mind and you can't impose your will on other people, nothing will ever come of it. This is the main problem, that this is what we recognize and this is how it's going to be. We have to realize this is our government and we need the input of everyone in the community and come together as one. It's not about compromise. What's the best for them? Like, we need to stand together.
So how would you do that? What would you propose?
Meetings, get together with them and speak to see what their needs are and what our needs are, and to try to come to an understanding together and not always just fighting each other. It's not going to work, and our community is just going to fall apart.
Okay, Angie, do you attend community meetings or the CDMP process, which is the community decision-making process, in the past?
I used to go to the meetings with my father when I was younger. The last meeting I went to was when I went to receive for my land, for my house. But like I said, being a mother of 5 athletic children and my husband always away, every night I had some kind of a practice or meetings, or when I'm on the board, I'm lived in the arena for many years.
Like most of us.
Yeah,
Like when?
it's like 16 years. It was too hard, and like I tried to catch up on things and understand better of what's going on, and it was just really rough. Like, now that my kids are older, and I plan on to attending more of the meetings in the future.
I guess you spoke a little bit about being involved in the community. How does that help you in becoming a council chief?
I'm not sure if it would help me, but being involved with the community was for the children. I was always for the children, and I still am. Just doing what I did for them and seeing like the smiles on their face of the turnout that came about is what made my day.
Anything else you would like to add? We're sort of at the end.
Yeah, we have about 2 minutes, so...
About 2 minutes if you have anything else to add.
Yes, I do.
You have a lot of papers there.
she came with notes.
Oh, I need this. Just people might say that I'm inexperienced or I'm not qualified enough for this position. In fact, the matter is, anyone who ever started anywhere did not have the full experience, and you need hands-on to fully grasp the experience of the work. I have always went above and beyond to help people, whether it be in education or sports. I always volunteered my time in any way possible. I would like to do more for Kahnawake, and I believe given the chance, I can, as an individual and with the help of all the other councillors, to better the future for Kahnawake. I strongly urge 18-year-olds and up to come out and take part in the elections, because this is going to affect you and your children in the near future.
Thank you so much, Angie, for joining us. And that it?
Is that, you have anything else to add?
No.
No?
No. Thank you so much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
On that note, we'll take a break and we'll be right